welcome to Real Streamers. Hey Ryan.
Hey Eric.
I think you saw a movie that I saw. Does that sound right?
I think we saw the same movie with a bunch of probably a few million other people.
Yeah, I think we did. Okay, and today we're going to review that movie. We're going to, I guess, go over some talking points. We have our own sort of categories here that we're going to discuss, and we're going to get into it. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. I can't wait to dive right in.
All right. I hear you have thoughts and feelings.
Many thoughts and many feelings.
Okay,
My
good.
inner child came out.
All right. Currently at 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. It stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, Pablo Pascal, directed by Patty Jenkins. We, of course, are talking about Wonder Woman 1984.
Citizens of the world,
I'm here to change your life.
anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it.
You look like you saw a ghost. Diana, look at you. It's like not one day has passed.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator.
You've always had everything, while people like me have had nothing. Well, now it's my turn. Get used to it.
All right, Ryan. So here's the quick, I guess, 2 sentences, or maybe 1 sentence from IMDb describing the movie. I love these. Rewind to the 1980s as Wonder Woman's next big screen adventure finds her facing 2 all-new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. So I guess that's supposed to describe the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I notice again they're going with discreet, not going over the top in details, and just giving you the bare minimum, which is fine, and I love it.
Oh yeah, I think below bare minimum on this one.
Total undersell, but I mean, hey, it's fine. The movie is totally gonna make up for it.
Okay, cool. All right, man. So before we get into it, just really quick, did you like the movie?
I love the movie. It's a big shocker, right? Again, like I just am totally in love with the whole Wonder Woman franchise. I think they hit the themes all out of the park, and it's just a fun movie that just brings back a bunch of good DC old school feel that wasn't too serious, too dark. Just totally awesome.
All right, I said real quick.
Sorry, I told you I had feelings.
All right, that's interesting because I went completely the opposite. I hated this movie.
What?
This is going to be interesting. All right, here we go. Let's start with the first topic. Does the trailer live up to the movie?
Yeah, I think it totally does live up to the movie. It showed what it was going to be about, give little glimpses.
Yeah, obviously.
And I don't think it gave away too much. And yeah, I think it does live up to the movie.
Well, usually the trailers, they give you the best of the movie, right? And
Exactly.
they're supposed to entice you. So
Right.
so for the most part, usually even though the movie's bad, the trailer should be pretty good, right? That's sort of like the gist of
Yeah,
it.
totally agreed. It should at least want to give you a little goosebumps.
Yes. Now, when we initially talked about the trailer, you had reservations. I had as few as well. So, I guess in that case, it sort of did live up to the trailer because I was a little worried, and
Yeah.
it did live up to that worry for me, anyways.
Okay. Interesting. I thought I was pleasantly surprised that I was totally opposite by my worries.
All right. So to me, I think it might prove that the DC cinematic universe did not change course after the first Wonder Woman. I thought it seems like Wonder Woman 2017 was a fluke good movie, and they sort of reverted back to cheesy, campy, overacting horror
Well, I mean,
show.
okay, no, I get that, but I think the whole point is that that was the '80s, though. You know, it was totally cheesy, overacting. Like they were just fitting in with the setting. At least that's what I took from it.
Okay, well, I think we'll get into that a little bit. I have a few comments on that a little later. Just to finish my thought here on this topic. It's a movie based on wishes. The Simpsons did that. The Simpsons did that on a House of Horrors. Was it Tree House of Horrors one
Yeah,
year?
I remember that one, the monkey paw.
And they did it. I think they did a better job than these people did. To me, it was sort of hard to follow. It was a little clumsy after that first sort of mall fight scene in the beginning. There was really not a lot of Wonder Woman till probably like a little over half the movie. It was a 2.5 hour long, really long movie, and for the most part, I think it was a little corny and cheesy. But like you said, I think that maybe that's what they were going for because they wanted to play up the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, look, this isn't an Oscar film or anything. You know, like they wanted to have fun. We all think of the '80s as goofy, silly. Even in the trailer, when Steve is trading or wearing those pants and trading out outfits, like we can see, like there's going to be some kookiness. You know, there's going to be a little haha moments or a little like irony, and you know that's what I kind of expected going in.
Yeah, but it was I think it was over the top. I think it was
Okay.
really cheesy. It was you can do 80s well. And I don't think they did 80s well. I think they used the 80s sort of as a not really as a backdrop, maybe almost like a character as part of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
Because
that's
usually,
what it was.
yeah, that's what it was. But I think it sort of fell flat
Okay.
because all that's been done. I mean, there's been quite a few 80s movies, and we've seen all that before.
What? Not in a
And to
real.
have sort of and to sort of have a similar take as actually I could even say like a worse take on the 80s is other movies that do it well. I think to me was a letdown.
Okay.
Wah.
Well, I mean, I totally disagree. I mean, I think it was what I liked about it was it lived up to the same theme as before. Bunch of color everywhere, very different scenes and imagery that was, I think, on par. Before with other DC movies, it's usually dark. There's something sad going on. Like this, like I think for me, psychologically, color brings a lot of happiness and joy to the brain. And that's how I felt watching this movie. Like it felt the whole time that there was something new to watch. And it just was going along fast. For me, I know it was 2.5 hours, but I was surprised how fast it was going. Like I did have to pause it a couple times to go, handle some things. But even then, I was surprised that it was that far in.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and it was for me, it was smooth.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So next topic here. Best character. I'll start on this one. I think it's easily Diana. She carried this movie on her back. I think, just because I wasn't a big fan of the much of it, other than
Mhm.
her. Uh, yeah, I think she was the only one that played it pretty straight. Even Steve Trevor was playing a little goofy, a little,
He
you know,
did. He was a little goofy, but
yeah, so basically, there was not a lot of carryover from the first movie, in my opinion, other than Diana. She didn't overreach. She didn't overact. She played it well. She had a solid performance.
well, I
That's
mean,
what I
I
think.
don't think that Steve did do too bad. I mean, as a guy that's being shocked and brought back, in a different time speed, I think he did all right by being amazed. I did like seeing like the wonder in his eyes, like when he would look at certain things. I thought that was a good thing to pull off just visually, and just his just shock about certain things. I think it was more like a natural type of wonder of what's going on because he was always into certain things to be curious about.
Right. Your thoughts on the best character, Ryan?
Best character? Well, I think it was also Diana. And you're right, because she did have to carry the movie. But to me, that's the whole point of this. Like usually the sequel is more relied on the character, because now we know the character. We already got introduced to it in the beginning, and we get to see how they're adapting to their new firmed role. And usually, it's the character's predictable, kind of boring, same old stuff. But Diana really brought out the character in a more engaging type way, where you want to be going along with her on her adventures, and you see her grow, and you see her still stay to the person, and she does get to be a little bit of herself and be a little bit selfish, and have her way for a bit, and you see that side of her. But then you get to also see the side where she grows and realizes that that's not the way, that it's kind of a selfish way.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
also Steve did do a good job. Like, he was also I think, still on
Close.
par, because he
Close
did.
second.
Yeah, because he kept to his character, the same thing, realizing like the sacrifice is bigger than him or what they want, and keeping Diana honest and still engaging with her. I did like the story wise that it made sense that only Diana could see him as Steve. And then I was like, okay, so that makes it a little better, because at first I was like, well, what's going on? You know? And to me, the whole point is like he's playing that character where he knows he's someone else, so it makes it kind of fun. And I think he still, though, teaches Diana different ways of life that she carries with her, which just shows how much of an impact he has in her life.
To me, he felt like he took a step back from the first movie. Like in the first movie, he was like it was like Diana is one and he's 1A. He
Yeah.
he was like right with her, and I think this one he moved down to a B. Diana's A and he's B, or
Okay.
one and he's a straight number two.
Hmm.
Straight number two. A little bit, yeah, straight number two. But I would definitely still watch another Wonder Woman movie just because of her. I mean, in
Yeah,
hopes that,
she's phenomenal.
in my opinion, they make a better story. They improve that. But yeah, she's still great. I'd still watch another
Well,
Wonder
and,
Woman
and I think
easily.
what also just goes to just plays without mentioning is their chemistry. Their chemistry is still good and dead on. You don't get distracted by it that they've been separated this whole time. The success didn't like make them look at each other differently. Their chemistry is great. They're still getting along. They're flowing with each other, and you can just see it throughout, like going back and forth.
All right, next up, worst character. Ryan, who do you think was the worst character in this movie?
For me, the worst character, to be honest, I couldn't find one. I think everybody like just played their role fine, and I like their over the topness, because you can see it's still a comic movie. We're still watching a superhero movie that's supposed to be fun and a little zany, and we're trying to get distracted from the craziness that's going on right now. And I think this movie takes you out of it and puts you in a different feel, to where you're there and enjoying it. So I don't think there's a character that distracts you from it to be like, oh, like I don't know what's going on with this person. At least while I was watching it, I thought everybody was on par and didn't really hold anything back.
Yeah, I think I'm on the complete other side of this one. Um, Other than Diana, maybe Steve Trevor, who, in my opinion, took a step down and was sort of eh. I think everybody else wasn't very good. I think they still have a trouble making decisions when it comes to casting bad guys. These actors are not sort of like your traditional bad guy. I mean, Kristen Wiig is a genius comedian, and they turned her into like a deranged Real Housewives on steroids, and but I think if I had to choose one, sadly, it's Pedro Pascal, Maxwell Lord. They took him from Mandalorian hero to a used car salesman, basically. Lots of overacting,
Mhm.
clumsy. He's scummy. He's not scary. I'm not afraid of this guy. He's no Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was smart, clever. he's sort of like like I said, he's sort of like a used car salesman. It was sort of hard to follow what his intent was, his ultimate achievement that he was trying to get to.
Mhm.
What's the point of continuing with the wishes after he's already struck oil in
Yeah,
that first part? You know
he
what I mean?
clearly didn't have a good game plan or end game, I should say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He
that
wasn't
part
he
I was
wasn't very
confused about.
he wasn't very smart.
Yeah,
So that
but I
to
think
me
that
does not make a good, and he was supposed to be like the main bad guy. The Cheetah and Kristen Wiig, Barbara, she was sort of she was a
she was the
1B or
muscle.
maybe a 2, or she was the muscle. There you go.
Yeah.
So to me, the main baddie was not, a lot of bark and no bite.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think with the baddies, I did like them. I think Kristen Wiig did a great job playing this character. I think she was like believable, someone that has been not victimized, but like just been always the underdog their whole life. Finally gets this power, and someone wants to take it away that she's always looked up to. I think it played a lot of like emotional reason why she would be like that. And I think even with Max, it showed that he has ideas, but like just like his real character, because it's a Ponzi scheme, he doesn't have a good plan at all, and that's just more of the human side where he just wants to be a good dad, and live up for his son. And that's why I was just kind of like, I liked it. That's why I just kind of thought there was more a human element to the villains this time, which kind of like made more sense than as to the original, where they were just zany bad guys.
I think this was on par with the original zany bad guys.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Wah, wah. Again, a disagreement. Moving on. Next is the scene. I guess I'll take this one first. So this is what in our opinions was the best scene of the movie, or what sort of like made the movie. For me, it was the opening sort of warrior competition sequence.
Hmm.
Yeah, with Diana as a younger kid.
Right, right.
Yeah, it brought us back
Awesome.
to Themyscira.
Yep.
A beautiful island. You were mentioning the colors before. The colors here are awesome. It was it was good fun. It showed how clever she was when she fell off the horse. Fighting
Yeah.
adversity, sliding and taking
Never,
that little shortcut. And
never give up.
yeah, it just showed all the potential in Diana, which was great, awesome. And I thought this was just the beginning of what was going to be a great movie. and
And nose diving.
and yeah, and then after that, there isn't anything that came close to that. So unfortunately,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, to me, like, yeah, that was a great scene, but I think you're forgetting the invisible jet. Come on now, like we've been waiting to see how this was going to play out, and we totally saw it. And I thought that was awesome. That was a good way to play it on screen, and you see her, learn another power. And I thought it was cool with the visuals, and we got those fireworks. Like, come on, like, what more do you want?
All right, next topic. We talked about the scene or the best scene. Now let's talk about the worst scene. You lost me. What the hell? What is this? What am I looking at? For me, it was probably everything except for that
The
first
opening.
scene. Yeah, except for the best scene. I agree with you with them paying homage to the '80s, but I think they took all the bad parts of the '80s. They took like a dumb teen movie, with Barbara being the nerdy
Yeah,
unpopular girl trying to
it
be
did get a little
cool.
annoying. Yeah,
Yeah, the corny action scenes like from the mall, that first action scene at the mall, super corny, man. Oh my god. Totally unrealistic. I couldn't get into that.
that was totally Superman 3.
I know. Let's keep it at Superman 3. Probably like the worst Superman. The team body swap with Steve Trevor, which I thought was completely unnecessary. I know you like that, but I it made no sense to me. I mean, if this thing could grant wishes, that's what it did. I mean, I thought they could have. done a better job at that somehow. You liked the Wonder Woman flying and talking to herself, a la Superman. What is it? The Superman "Can you read my mind" scene,
Yeah,
which a lot of people, including myself, did not like. I think that was sort of like an odd part of that Superman movie. I think they just had a problem. They had good ideas. I think they had a problem getting from A to B. You mentioned the invisible plane.
jet.
The invisible jet. That's what it seemed like. She did that off of a whim. It doesn't give her credit for being, I think, more powerful, or like a better character than that. She does it on a whim, where she just happens to have access to this airport, this hangar with all these planes, and just pick one, and all of a sudden the plane is gassed up,
It was part of the
ready to go. I
yeah.
mean, no, no. The desert chase scene, I thought that was really clumsy. It sort of looked like a bad sort of homage to Indiana Jones, maybe, which what it seemed like with the tanks and everything. And then
Yeah.
it ended sort of clumsily with the kids in the middle of the road, and I didn't like that. But I think if the one bad scene for me, if I had to choose one, I know I said a lot. I'm sorry, I said too much. But the one bad scene was anything where it looked like she was running really, really fast, because that completely took me out of the movie completely.
Her
It was
super speed did throw me off too.
Yes, completely. I was like, "What am I watching? How much did they spend making this movie, and they couldn't make her look like she's running fast?"
Yeah, I get it. There were a few flaws, I think, with the overall visualization. Like you said, the execution of showing
Yeah,
that
execution.
they
That's
could have
yeah,
shown it a better way.
yeah.
And yeah, there were some parts I agree with you with the desert scene and with the kids stuff. Even when with the kid thing, I was like, wait, this is there's a lot going on that needs to be, like chill out.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
get that. Like I think some, and that's what I noticed too. That does kind of bug me about the Wonder Woman series. Like, why does she always have to go against two? Like, we get it, like, can we just have a one-on-one, and someone that's a true villain, and then that be it? Like, why? I think they kind of overcompensate for her trying to be like a woman or like or a new hero. I don't know which one it is, but I think that's the part that kind of like really bugs me about the only thing that really bugs me about this film.
All right, Ryan, the next topic we've got, the message. What message did you get from watching this movie?
The message I got is going again to the heartstrings like it did originally, to where you have to look out for everyone else. It's not always about you. And as good as it feels to get what you want, what cost is it really worth it? And I think it makes a lot of people grow up and realize some of the stuff they're really after. Are they really needing to go after it, or is there a better way, or something else? And I just think greed overall throughout the movie is played a big part of it, and it just shows how crazy it can get and how bad it is.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, sensible, Ryan. That's a good where's the ding ding? The more you know. It's a more you know moment, Ryan.
Give me that shooting star.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. All right. So the message I got was, don't revive 80s filmmaking. Keep it in the 80s. Keep it in the 80s. The 80s should only be a backdrop or a setting of a movie. We don't need any of that goofy stuff. There's a reason it's been 40 years, and there's a reason we look back at those movies and say, wow, yep, that's the 80s, because it wasn't good back then. We've advanced so much. Like I said before, there's shows and there's movies that take place in the 80s that do it well. One good example is Stranger Things. Stranger Things did an excellent job using the 80s, and they used it as a time period, and they did modern filmmaking with, they used it.
Yeah. Okay, I get that, but I mean they're different themes. Like Stranger Things is more of like a sci-fi mystery. This is more of like a comic book.
Yeah, but I mean, the comic book movies that do really well, I think we know, are the Marvels. They're sort of the sort of standard, right?
Right.
Most people love them. Most people love them. Not everybody loves them, but most people do. They
Yeah,
make tons of money,
totally.
and they play it. a lot more straight than this one did. Even Captain Marvel, that was set in the 90s. I mean, they didn't overplay the 90s. They hinted at,
That is true. Yeah, you're right. That is a good point.
they hinted at the 90s. They
Right.
didn't
They didn't make it a character.
Yeah, it wasn't a 90s movie. It
Right.
was a movie of today set in the 90s, and
Exactly.
I think that's the difference. And I think we don't even looking at the first Wonder Woman, I mean, it was set in 1940s Europe, you know?
Right.
Again, it's a setting of the movie. So they leaned on World War II as the base of the movie, as a crisis of the times. And here they had to come up with their own crisis, and the crisis turned out to be some sleazy vacuum salesman, making too many wishes and bringing the world down and putting everything in ruins, which is, to me, was sort of like an underwhelming plot.
Hmm. Like the greed was an underwhelming plot. Like, what do you mean?
Underwhelming was the crisis. The crisis, which was basically one guy making too many wishes, and it all sort of like came back to bite him in the butt, and unfortunately it bit the whole world in the butt. So to me that's not enough. That's not enough to make a sort of like cinematic, keep you on the edge of your seat.
You're right, because they didn't play up the part of the monkey paw's revenge. I think that's where they did fall short on. They didn't really play that aspect as well as they could have. I think maybe if they would have gone a little darker with that, you might have enjoyed that part. From what I feel like, because yeah, you're right. They kind of, again, execution. Just like you said
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, they had a tough bar. I think it could have been, I don't know if it could have been a good idea, but they probably could have, yeah, like you're saying, they could have gotten from A to B, a little more creatively.
Right. Yeah, which yeah, I mean, and I do think that is also kind of the same thing that happened originally with the first Wonder Woman. So it's for me, it was kind of looking into this one. I kind of went in with that aspect, like don't go in there expecting a nice bow and tie. Just go and have fun.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was like, okay, they knew what they did on the first one. I mean, I
They
heard
knew
a,
how
I
they
heard
screwed up.
yeah, I read a sort of an interview with Patty Jenkins where she said she didn't like the way the first Wonder Woman, that fight scene. She said they made her change it, so she sort of did it pretty quickly on the fly and sort of rewrote it. So I was like, oh, okay,
Interesting.
so she knows
To
she
correct it.
knows exactly what happened, and she knows where,
Okay.
and I thought she was going to correct that, but I guess she didn't.
Yeah, and but I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's that's your aspect. To me, I was just going into it really not expecting, a nice bow and tie, just some fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonder Woman's down to, yeah, it's down to 65. I think it started at somewhere around 68% in Rotten Tomatoes. So it's sort of getting knocked down a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, sequels are hard in general as it is because certain people already have expectations, just like we both had different expectations. So you're going to lose some versus uh, people that are going into it blind and having no expectations. So they're not going to be let down, Now that we got a feel for it, we kind of build some angst or some feelings towards maybe they'll go this direction, maybe they'll go that direction, and if they don't go our way, we end up giving it a shitty review, which I don't think is right. I think there's a reason why she was hired as a director. Was this worth your time? Did you enjoy yourself? Would you watch it again? Yes, 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 yes. For me.
Next topic, Ryan, the music. For me, I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't pay too much attention to it,
same,
honestly. I,
same.
I didn't feel it as being sort of any sort of like a sticking point. What was interesting is that I didn't hear any sort of 80s music. You'd think
Right? Yeah,
they would license something,
yeah.
something from the 80s, at least if they're gonna go 80s, man.
As far as they did, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, especially you're talking about how, they purposely pushed that sort of like 80s feel,
Needed a
at least
character.
like in the characters and everything in the acting, but they didn't use any 80s music, so that's sort of a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, I agree. I think the music did let down on this one. There was no real like pump up like, music scene. I thought they just did play it safe. And yeah, sadly they did not use anything that I noticed from the 80s at all during the whole thing. I don't know if maybe that was just a financial thing or whatever, but
Oh god, I hope it wasn't financial thing.
yeah, I really I don't know because to me it really doesn't make sense. Why would you not feature that kind of music? Like that's the whole point of what people take back, and at least you can always fall back on that even if it's safe. Like I think
Yeah.
that was one of the thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, where
Yes.
that soundtrack was fucking awesome, which makes you enjoy the movie more.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Next up, the look, the cinematography, colors, etc. What do you think?
I loved it. I mean, I think from the beginning you get a feel of colors, like even from just, background to people of color. Like that's what I love seeing. Like there was just actual, a variety of people and everybody's being featured. Nothing, even from body images are different. Like, and that's what I just thought was really cool to see. It was really like just nice to make everybody feel inclusive, and it's a good feeling to where it's like okay, it's like I know that doesn't usually become a topic, but it is kind of like a not discussed topic about real representation when some of these scenes come about. And that's what I think Wonder Woman did throughout the whole time, whether it was even a woman in charge or a lady demanding respect. I think the whole time with the imagery that they show about their women, I love because it puts them in a powerful role.
And all the guys saying, "Hey, baby. Hey,
Yeah,
baby. Hey, baby. Hey."
those
It's
creepy
like,
guys.
yeah, there's a lot of those creepy guys.
Yeah, but I mean, it was back then. I mean, there was a lot of that stuff going on. Everybody, the women walking by construction sites will tell you.
Yeah, but I didn't see one construction site, but they were a lot of douchey looking business types. So I guess that sort of makes
Well, yeah,
sense.
you don't have to be a construction worker to be a douche.
Well said. I thought it was fine. Did I feel like I was in the 80s? I guess I sort of did. Everything was things are a little too pretty, a little too clean, I think. Even the homeless guy, like Barbara's homeless friend, he looked too clean.
He
You know what
did.
I
He
mean?
was a little,
He
yeah,
was a little too polished.
right,
I remember the 80s being a little bit more grimy
yeah,
from what I remember, first 10 years of my life. But everything looked a little too polished, but that's the movies.
yeah. It's
Right.
Hollywood.
Next up, we have the end. Did you like how the movie ended? There are a few ends and that I wanted to talk about. Okay, I guess the first part of the ending was the scene with Cheetah, which looked really CGI. Cheetah looked she looked painted. You know what I mean? Like her
Yeah,
face, it really looked like
yeah,
makeup.
yeah. It did
But
look like she got a little crazy with the mascara.
yeah, she got through Cheetah. She electrocuted her, but she didn't die.
Right.
But Diana didn't get electrocuted. I don't know.
That part
I
I
don't know
didn't
why.
understand.
I
Yeah,
don't know why.
yeah. That I
But
was like, she's even in metal. Like it makes no sense.
yeah. But more importantly, after that, she battles her greatest foe, a really windy secret bunker. Now that really had her going. That had her. That had her on the ropes. Oh my God! Really, the wind. The wind is what was keeping her down,
Mother
and
Nature, bro.
I guess so.
She's a god
And
too.
yeah, and the way she got to Maxwell was the lasso of truth, I guess, to show truth, which I
Right.
guess is something new that we didn't know the lasso could do. But hey,
Yeah.
you know, it just seemed pretty cheap to me with something as serious as sort of like the world, potentially coming to an end.
Right.
You know, just sort of like talking him down is what does it. You know, I don't know. To me, that wasn't enough, as for a good sort of like defeating the bad guy ending. I mean, I don't need pulverizing him or anything, but mm, that didn't work for me. After that, everyone renounces their wishes. The nukes potentially sort of like either disappear or they blow up. I don't know.
Right.
All those nukes disappearing because we saw one blow up. So
Yeah.
am I assuming a lot of them blew up or disappeared? So does that mean the world still blows up or not? Because other things still happened. Walls got torn down, and which was weird. It just seemed weird how it ended.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, things weren't things. I guess were they supposed to not have happened
Yeah,
since
it
everybody
took
renounced their wishes?
it seemed like it took a weird rewind about like, reverse. And to me, I'm like, well, that doesn't mean everybody took back their wishes. You know what I mean? Like some people
Yeah,
are still going to be, dealing with whatever circumstances they did for their wish. And
yeah,
yeah, I agree. I think it was a little just quick fix. And it's the same thing we saw before, which is why I wasn't so hard on seeing it again, for me.
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's just because it was like, what kind of way can you really go at this point with the story getting so out of hand? How are you going to bring it back down?
Yeah, couple more things, just really quick. After that, the sort of end scene, I guess you can say, is the snowing scene in the little square, and she sees the person who was Steve Trevor, the guy
Right.
who
Oh
you know.
yeah, that's right, at the end when they meet again with the
e-
outfit.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's my point exactly. It's like, hey, I like your outfit. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Yeah, it did seem kind
That
of
was
like,
so you would think there'd be more to that. I mean, if they bring him back, you'd think they would be like, "Oh, hey, let's, walk together," or "Can I buy you coffee or something?" No,
something.
nothing.
Yeah.
Just, "Hey, nice pants. That's
Right.
a cool belt. Okay, see you later."
Hey, sexy
Would
pants. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And then finally the end post sort of credit scene with Linda Carter and
Oh
her
yeah.
cameo. I didn't understand that, which was it's sort of like a throwaway
Yeah,
scene that they
like I think
threw
they
in
did
there
it
for I
just
don't know what reason.
exactly. They did it. Well, I mean, I think they just did it to give a payback to Linda Carter when she was the original Wonder Woman. But yeah, exactly. Like to me, I was like, well, what's the point? Because what the hell was she doing while the world was being destroyed? Then she was just
Yeah,
sitting there
they
watching it.
they
Like,
they easily could have put her somewhere else in the movie,
yeah,
anywhere else.
anywhere.
Easily.
She could have just been a random person. But yeah, to put her in that role and then to have her be this great warrior that just happened to do nothing while the world is falling apart.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, well, what was the point? I didn't get that either. I thought it was a cool, uh, honor or homage, to give it to her, but I think it was just kind of like not needed, or it wasn't again executed well, in
Right.
that role.
Ryan, what did you think of the ending?
I agree with what you think. I think it was just more tied up, put together, very
Haphazardly.
exactly. Like the execution just was not on point. It didn't tie up everything, bow and arrows. I get why people are rating this as lower than the first one, because now they can be a little more harsher, and some of the stuff you can be a little more, critical on. But to me, I think it's still a movie to where you can enjoy yourself while you're watching it. As bad as the endings usually are in these things, I mean, most of the time in superhero movies, the endings aren't what we really remember. We remember like the cool scene in the movie.
Well, if it's bad, you remember it.
Well, yeah, anything bad
You
though.
remember it. You remember it for being bad. So don't make it bad, people.
True, but anything bad you remember.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's why I'm going to remember this movie. Okay, Ryan. Would you watch this again, and how many times?
I would definitely watch it again. I'm probably gonna watch it again tonight and
Oh.
see if maybe I was a little too fanboy about it. But uh,
or okay, okay, maybe don't read Twitter.
well, no, I mean, even with any movie that I think that should be just a general rule of thumb for anybody. Don't read Twitter before you watch a movie, because it's
Yeah,
really your
make up your
opinion.
own mind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you should just go into it, whether if it fits for you, it fits for you. It doesn't have to fit for everybody.
Right, but their hope is if it's for
The
most people.
majority.
Yeah. All right. I would not watch this movie again, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess. And I would watch it no more additional time. So no and no on both counts. Okay, let's calculate our ratings. We judge movies based on reels. 1 reel is garbage. 6 reels is a perfect movie. Anything 4 reels or above is worth your time. More than 4 reels is just icing on the cake. It's sprinkles, it's fireworks, whipped cream, 6 reels, cherry on top, everything. Perfect movie. We're gonna take our little Scantrons that we filled out, the little bubbles. Yeah, with the number 2 pencils. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got yours. All right, Ryan. What's your rating on this movie?
I'm gonna give it 5 reels.
5 reels is a great.
Yes, I think it was great. I don't think it was perfect, but I think it was great. I think it does its job of letting you have fun while you watch the movie. I think what was also underplayed was I would want to see this in a movie theater. Like I kind of did felt a little cheated not being able to enjoy this in the big screen or not being with the audience to clap along at the big reveals during the movie. I think that kind of helps with the movie experience, and maybe that could also play a factor as to why this rated so low, because you're not there with the audience to really have the feels with everybody, so it's kind of like on your own thing, and that's why I think it was great but not perfect.
So it just as reference, you gave the first Wonder Woman a 5 reels and a half,
Yeah,
right?
5.5.
So in your opinion, this is sort of like on par with that, just a tiny little step
Just
back.
a tiny little setback. Yeah, I think that it's a tiny little setback, but it's not to get it 6 reels is going to be really, really hard. It's hard to do a perfect film.
Okay, cool. So I gave this a 2.5 reels. 2 reels being not good, 3 reels being okay. So it's in between.
So it's almost okay.
It's almost okay. I would say it's close to okay because it's probably worth watching to say that you watched it, and so you can talk to your friends or whatever about it. Because I
no
think it's a good topic of it's a good sort of topic of discussion. I think it's a good probably you like it or you hate it. I don't know if there's an in between. I don't
Yeah,
think there'll be an in between on this one.
there'll definitely be an opinion one way or the other. I agree. It does either make you really want it or not.
All right, that was Wonder Woman 1984. So let's move on, Ryan. What's next?
Well, it appears we're moving on to the other side.
That's correct. Pixar's got a new movie that came out the same day as Wonder Woman called Soul, starring Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, and let's take a listen.
Today started out as the best day of my life.
Back here tonight, first show's at 7.
Yes! Woohoo! You know what that's gonna say? Joe Gardner. I did it. I got the gig.
Must have been sudden for you.
What? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Help! I'm not done! Oh my goodness!
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what Curious Takes, an animated movie, wants to talk about what happens when afterlife and going back, and I'm sure we're all going to learn a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the thing about Pixar is they know how to pull the heartstrings.
That's
They
what
know,
I'm worried about.
they know you're afraid you're going to cry, aren't you? Because I know I'm going to cry.
Yeah. No, I already know. Shit, I cried 3 times during Wonder Woman.
So then multiply that by 10 when it comes to Pixar, right?
Oh, definitely. It'll be tissue box time.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I mean, early reviews look good.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting a lot of buzz, a lot of good positive, which Pixar usually does. They don't usually flop on these movies, but like you're right, they do totally play on the heartstrings, those bastards. So I'm wondering what's gonna make me want to dive right into tissue box and ice cream now.
Yes. All right. Sounds good. So Soul is going to be our next episode here on Real Streamers. And I guess for now, that's it, Ryan.
Yep. Till next time, my friend.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.